Hi everyone! Today we're going to take a look at the best gaming PC build under $400 in the market for this year. First, we're going to show you our top 6 best picks, and we'll talk about what you should look for before buying a best gaming PC build under $400. You can find links to all of the products we've mentioned in this video down in the description below. Let's get started. At the first position of our list, we have AMD Ryzen 5 3400G. For these kinds of setups, there are a few choices, but the best one I discovered is the Ryzen 5 3400G. The other choices are an i3 9100 processor or a Ryzen 3 3200 processor with a GTX 1050 graphics card, but there is a catch. Because both the CPU and graphics card are inadequate for contemporary gaming, the best choice is the 3400 Ryzen 5, which allows you to combine better graphics cards in the future. The Ryzen 5 3400G is a redesigned first-generation APU with more powerful integrated graphics, making it the finest APU ever produced. This processor's pricing is extremely reasonable for a $400 gaming PC setup, and its performance is adequate for the budget, making it the best value. The Ryzen 5 3400 features 4 cores and 8 threads, providing enough performance in both apps and gaming. AMD used to release flagship CPU with 4 cores and 8 threads for $300, but with new Ryzen APU, they've altered the game. It has a base speed of 3.7 GHz, but with the stock cooler and any decent B450 chipset motherboard, you can easily push it up to 4.2 GHz. These AMD processors, unlike Intel processors, are factory unlocked, which means you may overclock them for even more performance. The integrated graphics card's base frequency is 1400 MHz, with a total TDP of 95W. Another area where this APU outperforms Intel CPU is the included cooling. As you may be aware, most Intel CPU do not come with built-in cooling, forcing you to purchase an aftermarket cooler, which is more expensive. For AMD processors, however, this is not the case, and you may overclock these processors using the factory cooling. With all of its excellent qualities, this CPU also has some flaws, although they are minor in comparison. First and foremost, the performance difference between the CPU and previous generations in this application is not significant. I found this CPU to be somewhat better than the previous version when evaluating its benchmarks. Nevertheless, there is a $50 price difference between them. As a result, it will be ideal for a gaming PC under $400 in every aspect. Moving on to the next at number 2 would be 450 MPR offered by ASRock motherboard. After you've decided on a processor, the following step is to choose a good motherboard that won't restrict the processor's performance. As I previously said, these C+ multipliers are unlocked, allowing you to push their clock speeds to unprecedented heights. However, you must first choose which chipset motherboard is suitable for these setups. Starting with the A320 chipset, which is the lowest choice, you will be missing out on a number of features, including overclocking. The X370 or X470 chipsets are capable, however they lack display output connectors and are prohibitively costly for budget setups. The other two chipsets are the B350 and B450, both of which are almost same in price. However, the B450 has considerably more features and performance, and I would suggest it. This design does not have dedicated graphics cards, but it does include 2 PCIe X16 slots that enable AMD Crossfire and 1 PCIe Zone slot for expansion cards. Video output connections are required with APU, and the back I/O panel includes VGA, DVI, and HDMI connectors. The only criticism I have is that for any cheap or entry-level setup, several graphics cards and a pair of M.2 slots are unnecessary. Instead, it would be preferable if it had 2 more SATA slots. While this motherboard is reasonably priced, it lacks certain premium capabilities that other entry-level motherboards provide for the same or lower price. This motherboard is ideal for gaming computers with an M4 socket CPU that costs less than $400. The number 3 position is held by ASUS X135 240GB Adata SSD. Every day, as compared to a few years ago, storage devices are improving. We were trapped with conventional hard disk drives, which are considerably slower and impact the entire performance of computers. Then came SSDs, which are certainly far quicker than any HDD but have their own set of benefits and drawbacks. NVMe SSDs, which are much superior than conventional SSDs, are very popular these days. So, in my opinion, a tiny SSD is sufficient in cheap PC setup since we can utilize a hard drive with it for gaming. But that is not the case here. Because our cheap build is mostly for sports games rather than AA games, we don't need a lot of storage, thus an SSD is a fine choice. However, if you wish to increase your storage in the future, there are choices on the motherboard. The drive we have is an Adata SU635 240GB, and as its name suggests, it contains 240GB of memory, which is more than adequate for any computer construction. This drive's makers say that it has a reading speed of 450 MB/s and a writing speed of 520 MB/s. So, there are some positive and negative aspects to this drive, and we'll go through them one by one. To begin with, it has much faster reading and writing speeds than a standard HDD. This drive has a variety of capabilities, including smart and trim, among others. It features a simple, clean, and effective SSD toolkit, while others are a little more difficult to use. The only issue I've had with this drive is that when the SLC cache is full, the drive's performance decreases to 50 MB/s, which is disappointing for any high-speed storage device. Another flaw I discovered with this SSD is that it only has a 2-year guarantee, while most other drives have warranties of up to 5 years. Next at number 4 we have EVGA BR450W80 Plus Bronze Power Supply. The EVGA BR450W80 Plus Bronze Power Supply is the power supply we're utilizing in our gaming PC around $400. For this PC setup, a 450W power supply is sufficient. EVGA has launched the BR series of power supplies, which has been added to the company's ever-growing range of products. EVGA claims that the BR series of power supplies are based on their current bronze-rated power supplies, but that they have added certain enhancements that consumers have requested. The EVGA BR450W power supply is 80+ certified and has all black completely sleeved wires, a 120mm sleeve bearing fan, and improved voltage stability on the 3.3V/5V rails. The improvements on the 3.3V and 5V rails come from a DC to DC converter with less signal, according to EVGA, which should assist with rail stability. The inbuilt safeguards of the EVGA BR450W80 Plus Bronze Power Supply are extensive, ensuring the safety of the gear connected to it. The primary reason we selected the EVGA BR450W80 Plus Bronze Power Supply for our budget gaming PC under $400 is because it is 80+ bronze certified, which means it is very dependable, and 450W is enough for our $400 gaming PC. In addition, the EVGA BR450W80 Plus Bronze Power Supply is reasonably priced for the level of dependability it offers. The number 5 position is held by Vengeance LPX from Corsair RAM. You may already be aware that when new technology and advances in the gaming business become available, you will need more resources than ever before. One of the most important components for transferring data from disk drives to the CPU for processing is main memory. Most people are unsure how much RAM is needed for a gaming setup, so I'll walk you through it all in this review. In this day and age, I would suggest getting at least 12GB of memory, and if you can afford it, 2 8GB modules to take advantage of dual-channel technology. Because we're constructing a cheap PC, the greatest RAM you can buy is 8GB, which will help eliminate any latency in your system. A heatsink or heat spreader constructed of pure aluminum sits on top of these modules, allowing for optimum heat dispersion. We're utilizing Corsair RAM modules, which are well-known brand, so you don't have to worry about their quality or features since this business hasn't let its customers down in the last several years. Because the motherboard only has 4 DIMM slots, you'll have an option with all of these sticks if you have any plans for future editions. One thing to keep in mind is that the speed of memory modules does not provide a fixed amount of extra frame rates, rather, it varies from game to game. Finally, the number 6 position is dominated by Corsair Carbide 100R. This is a more down-to-earth looking computer case that could be used for any type of build. There is no distracting mesh, and it comes in 3 different color and design options featuring different levels of glass on the side. You will get everything you need for connectivity with this case, as it even has 2 USB 3.0 ports in the front for your convenience. It also has 4 total drive bays that are designed to support newer SSD technology, and they can be installed without the need for tools. To keep all of your precious components cool, it has direct airflow to the graphics card, a built-in rear 120mm fan, as well as 4 other slots to install more 120mm fans if you so choose. You are going to love this case on a smaller budget, as it will stand the test of time and protect your build. That's all for today. We upload computer and accessories product review videos every single day. So, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for the upcoming video notification.